Hello?
Hello, is this Sir Cliff?
Yes, it is.
Hi, and thank you for being on my channel.
Not at all, my pleasure.
You have such a long and distinguished career, so I would very much like to focus on just a little part of that.
That'll be fine.
Let's say the early to mid-60s, because that's a very interesting period, I think.
Okay.
You had a record run of 23 consecutive singles in the UK Top 10, which started with Voice in the Wilderness and ended with The Minute You're Gone a few years later. But despite all the success, there were some significant changes in your life. Your father passed away, and it was the time you converted to Christianity. How did you manage that?
It wasn't too difficult, really, because in the end, music was very important to me, but then so was my spiritual life, and it was just about being awakened at that time. So there seemed to be nothing unnatural about being somebody who believes in a God. And so it was just an exciting time for me. And in 64 in the Young Ones, and then in 66 I came out publicly and spoke about my faith. And you know what? It wasn't so difficult. I thought it was going to be difficult, but you know, in the end, the public know that we're all human beings. We're also pop stars, I suppose, but we're human beings, and so therefore human beings eat the same food. They even believe the same things as the public sometimes, and so it was not so difficult for me to balance everything out.
And at one point in your career, you decided, let's put it out there. Let's say I'm a religious person. Didn't you think that was a risk to your career?
Well, kind of, and it was 66 that I first told the press about my faith. And in a way, there was a slight fear. I had a lot of people saying to me, look, if you come out and you talk about being a Christian, it may not be so good for your career. It's not the most popular thing to be, certainly not in the rock and roll world. And I felt it was almost biblical, though, because there's a very famous biblical story about a man called Isaac, who was a great, strong believer in God. And suddenly one day God said, take your son and take him up onto the mountain, and you build a sacrifice bed, and then I need you to sacrifice Jacob for me. And when his hand was lifted with the knife, God said, okay, stop. Now I know you really trust me. And so Jacob lived, and Isaac proved that his faith was strong. So I felt it was a sort of small Isaac for me. Was I prepared to lose my career? And the minute I said to myself, yep, I'm prepared, I'm going to go and talk about it. I don't care what happens. This is what I believe. Do you know what? Nothing happened. Nothing changed. And it was like God was saying, thank you very much. Get on with it. So in a different way, it was another little test for me, I suppose. And we all have tests. Everybody has tests in their lives, and sometimes we fail them, and sometimes we pass them.
1963 was the year that Beatlemania gripped the UK, and before that you reigned supreme. How was it to have this sudden, fierce competition?
Yeah, it was obvious that we got to have big competition there, and they were fantastic. You know, we started 5 years before them. But that doesn't really mean anything. Funnily enough, I think our industry is kind of constantly, every 5 or 6 years, there's a new craze or a new band or a new young singer. And that's good for our industry. And the Beatles were fantastic for our industry. I was the first one. I remember John Lennon said that outside America, he felt that until Move It, my first record, he said there was nothing before that. I mean, he knew there was America, but and the rest of the world. And of course, they went to Hamburg and then came back with all these wonderful songs they'd written, and made a big difference to everybody's lives, really. But you know, we competed well. We had number ones while they were having their number ones, and then the Shadows had their own number ones as well. So it was good, hot competition, and that's always good for music, I think.
Okay. But only last year I read in a Dutch newspaper that you were jealous of them.
Jealous?
Yeah.
Of who?
The Beatles.
No, I have never been jealous of anybody, really. I always wanted to be like Elvis. I was never jealous. And the Beatles, no, never. Why would I be jealous? You know, while the Beatles were having their hits, I had sell-out concerts. I had number one records. I was voted best male vocalist of the year for many years, actually. So there was nothing to be jealous about. Sometimes I think you have to remember the phrase, you cannot believe all that you read. So if anybody's listening to this now, and I'm sure there are many, you must remember that you cannot believe what the press writes sometimes. Sometimes they write the truth, and sometimes they write a lot of crap. And unfortunately, the crap sounds as truthful as the truth. And so therefore you have to figure out, do I look the kind of person that is jealous? Did I ever look depressed in front of everybody? Never. I fear nobody, and I don't feel jealous of anybody.
Mm-hmm. As an artist, you hold a lot of records. One of them is a record you share with Elvis Presley for being the artist with singles in the UK charts in 6 decades. What is your secret to survive this long?
Well, it's really hard to know why I succeeded. I mean, none of us really thought we would be around for so long. In the early days when the Shadows and I were playing together, the press would sometimes say, oh, they are one-hit wonders. Or they used to say, here today and gone tomorrow.
Really?
And in a way, sometimes we thought, oh, well, maybe we just have a short career. But after 5 years, we thought, oh, wait a minute, though, we're definitely not gone tomorrow. It's still happening. After 10 years, I thought, well, okay, longevity is possible if you're prepared to work hard.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody needs a little bit of luck. A lot of people don't know how to grab hold of that luck and make use of it. We had our luck, we grabbed that luck and held it close to us, and then we worked really hard. And in the end, it's difficult to say why I'm still here. I've always loved the rock and roll music I've recorded, and I've managed to stay in tune with whatever changes happened. So when high technology came in, I used it. When new writers came, I used them as well.
Yeah.
We lived for each other. They wrote me songs. I had big hits with many people, starting with the Shadows and then moving on to Alan Tarney and Terry Britton. I still can't say why I'm still here, but I'm so happy I am.
You're still very much a performing artist, but with 100 albums and I don't know how many more singles. How do you even begin to select what you will be performing?
Well, it's got easier as the years have gone by because obviously the more hits you have, those are the songs you choose to do on stage because they're the songs the public want to hear. And even now, I still introduce some songs that I haven't sung before, but they want to hear Living Doll. They want to hear Young Ones and Summer Holiday because they are part of people's memories. And so I usually sing those songs, but I sing other ones maybe from a new album. I mean, I've already been to Holland, and they already know that I sang 6 rock and roll songs from my new, the Fabulous Rock and Roll Songbook. And they were new for me, and new, and for the public listening, it was new to them. But they are old, wonderful old songs. I did a revival album of those songs, and I still sing "Devil Woman," "We Don't Talk Anymore." So there's room for everything. But it is easier once you've had many hits. You can go on stage. I could do a second half of a show with only number ones. 14 or 16 number ones.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it would be wonderful. I've never done that, though. I like to mix it up a little bit.
Have you never thought about retiring?
Well, I mean, why should... I mean, it seems silly to retire. I would have missed so much. So I say to myself that one day I probably have to stop, but that's not the same as retiring. Mm-hmm. I may stop, and nobody will know I've stopped, because maybe 2 years later I'll do a tour. I don't have the idea of retiring. It's just that sometimes I want to feel free to live my own life.
Yeah.
And that I can do now. I think I can do that now. So I'm planning to do that, but not immediately. If somebody sort of says to me, look, we have a wonderful idea, we're going to do Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Holland, Belgium, and France, I'll say, okay, that'll take about 4 weeks. Yep, okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
And then I can enjoy myself. I like singing live. It's really nice fun, and it's good to meet the fans, even though it's from a stage. But you still get the feeling of the fans in Holland or wherever I'm performing. And I feel that I would miss that a lot. So until I can't move anymore, until my voice disappears, I can't see any point in stopping. Oh, and the other reason, of course, if people don't want to hear me anymore, then of course I would stop.
That's it. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much indeed. It's great to be with you too.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.